Well, here we are, 30 games into the 2025-26 NHL regular season for the Calgary Flames, and wouldn't you know it, they are now fourth from last in the
Oh,
Western Conference by points alone. We're not talking about points percentages. We're not really getting into the weeds, but if you just look top to bottom, the Calgary Flames are now fourth from last in their own conference
who
after
did they jump
a
over?
they
Because
jumped
there's
over
Nashville and
Nashville, and
Vancouver.
yeah, they already had Nashville and Vancouver, and they're ahead of St. Louis now. Ahead of St. Louis as well, pending the results of tonight's games.
Right.
Mike Gould, Kent Wilson with you on this Saturday evening after the Calgary Flames defeat the Utah Mammoth /Hockey Club for the first time ever. Thank God. 2-1 nothing.
Right.
The final score at the Scotiabank Saddledome as Dustin Wolf gets the shutout. Yegor Sharangovich gets the game-winning goal, and we are here to break it all down with you here on Afterburner, a presentation of Bet365. Of course, it is absolutely, positively, never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. And it's funny, there were props, I believe, for today's game on how quickly the first goal would be scored. Don't know if anybody expected 16 seconds in, but before we get into that, we'll just mention that proceeds from our Super Chat go to Youth Centers of Calgary, a place where kids are welcomed and accepted as they are, a place where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is the reality for many of their lives and where they can flourish through connections and fun. Get the super chats in. We love hearing your super chats. We love hearing your regular chats. We'll get through a lot of them, I think, in the show tonight. Oh, pardon me. A fly must have flown in my throat, but I think the Utah Mammoth will be feeling even worse than that as they head out on the plane after tonight's game. They had entered the game winning twice in a row, and now they've lost again, falling to 14, 13, and 3. Not the Stanley Cup contenders that some of the names out there were proselytizing about a month
What
into
names?
the season. We're not going to get into the specific names.
All right.
But boy, are they ever a bad team. I wonder, Kent,
They're
if this
not
is a
that
game.
bad.
They're
They're
bad.
just
They're bad.
merely bad.
They're bad. I wonder if this is a game that's going to cost Andre Tourigny his job. I think so. In case you don't know, Andre Tourigny, one of the longest tenured coaches in the National Hockey League. I think he's third on the list now. Hired by Arizona back in 2021, has been with that franchise ever since, has guided them through some developing years, but they've just got shut out by the Calgary Flames 2-0. And after a red hot start to the season, I get they were without Logan Cooley tonight, but did not look particularly threatening to me, despite having a lion's share of the ozone pressure tonight. Now, that being said, Dustin Wolf also did his thing.
Yeah, that was vintage Dustin Wolf. He wasn't going to struggle forever. In one of my recent newsletters, one of my bullet points on my random thoughts bit was like, don't worry about Dustin Wolf. It's been a rough stretch, but this is a profoundly talented player, an extremely intelligent player, and this is not going to last forever.
As Remote Viewer 57 notes in the chat, Logan Cooley, a late scratch from this one, injured. Barrett Hayton coming in his spot. Didn't matter. Utah did not muster up much of anything tonight. Granted, playing on the second half of a back-to-back, having defeated the Vancouver Canucks last night, but holding on to a playoff spot by a very tenuous margin. As we mentioned off the top, it took very little time for Calgary to open the scoring in this game. Just 16 seconds in, it was Nazem Kadri, a nice little play down low to get the puck out in front, and Yegor Sharangovich, driving the front of the net, is able to tap this one home for his fourth goal of the season. This has been
that would be almost it for the rest of the night.
That'd be almost it for the rest of the night. You said it. You said it best. This has been a good line for the Flames dating back the last sort of, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks, and a lot of it is boiled down to Kadri and Farabee sort of developing really strong chemistry with one another. But I think Sharangovich was overdue a little bit. He's had some looks, and good to see him getting back on the board. A bit of a tough season, but 4 goals now for the Belarusian.
Yeah, I think that's a line setup that you need with Sharangovich, where he's not necessarily the guy pushing pace or pushing play, but he can complement and play to his strengths as they were, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting to see. We noticed in the third period, Yegor missed a little bit of time. Was left the bench for a bit, and even notable, Jonathan Huberdeau took his spot on the line with Kadri and Farabee for a little bit, and I don't imagine it would be performance related. So I would imagine maybe a little banged up in that third period. We'll watch for that in practices going forward, but it's good to see that line going relatively well. And we're the reason why we're belaboring this particular goal, which is a relatively unremarkable goal. I mean, good for Yegor, but still, it's just a pretty
Just a
boilerplate goal.
scramble. Yeah.
Is that not a whole lot else happened in this game? It was 1-0, and it continued to be 1-0,
For a
and it
while.
continued to be 1-0. And in the interim, we did see Dustin Wolf end up, making some of his finest stops of the year. Wolf entered this game with a save percentage decisively lower than Devin Cooley, and I think to his credit, he was fantastic pretty much all game long. Really, seeing more of the lateral stuff that we've always seen from Dustin Wolf, but just tracking everything very well. Utah has some good shooters, and Wolf was keen and aware. I mean, Liam O'Brien there, maybe not the strongest shooter, but that's still a
Still a
hard
grade
shot
A
to stop.
chance. Yeah.
Still a hard
Yeah.
shot to stop. And, it's tough when your backup has a 920 save percentage. Of course, Ryan Huska is going to ride him a little bit, but Dustin Wolf creeping back up towards league average after a really tough start. Now 7-12-2 with an 899 save percentage. And those numbers are, I imagine, probably going to go up from here.
Yeah, and he's you're right, he looked very dialed in, very vintage Wolf. And part of it is like the penalty kill right now is fantastic, but the first 10 to 15 games of the year, it was an abomination, absolute tire fire. Horrible. So they've turned it around, which is, credit to the players and probably the coach Trent Cull, but yeah, they struggled a lot, and he struggled a lot, especially in October, because there's just point blank shots coming from the deep slot, uncovered, top shelf, and he's had a lot of bad bounces. Honestly, like pucks going in and off guys, players tipping it into their own net. He hasn't had a lot of luck either, so I think we're going to see him go on a run here pretty soon.
Breaking down the four forward lines for the Calgary Flames by expected goals percentage tonight, the line of Michael Backlund, Connor Zary, and Blake Coleman, who did contribute on the score sheet with the empty net goal late in the third period, but they managed an expected goals percentage of 10% tonight. A little bit of a rough one from them. The Frost line with Coronado and Huberdeau in the 40s. The Sharangovich, Kadri, and Farabee line north of 60. And then, wouldn't you know it,
Fourth line.
Johnny Beecher, Ryan Lomberg, and Adam Klapka up at 98.33%.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that, the leader in expected goals, as you might expect tonight, was Yegor Sharangovich. Had a number of good chances. You know who had 3 shots, or at least three shot attempts? I mean, they weren't always going to hit the net, but had tied for second on the team in shots at 5-on-5 was Ryan Lomberg tonight. How about number 70 getting
Couple
some looks? Getting a
Yeah.
couple looks. Maybe it was him, and just the how particles attract with him and Liam O'Brien both being in the same game and being practically identical as players. Maybe they just
They
maybe they
fought.
just
Yeah.
exactly, they brought out the best
Yeah.
in each other tonight.
Well, maybe not the best. Like, how did Utah's fourth line do? Like, if
Uh,
Calgary's fourth line is putting up 98% expected goals, it's probably
um,
against Utah's fourth line.
you know what? Utah was north of 50. They were at 52.
That
So,
is surprising.
uh, for a line of Liam O'Brien, Kevin Stenlund, and Kyler Yamamoto, which is
Yeah.
a very strange line.
Yeah.
Yamamoto, itty bitty, sort of all skill. Stenlund, an absolute pillar who doesn't really do anything, and O'Brien is O'Brien. I sort of described him on the pregame show as Diet Lomberg.
Poor man's Lomberg. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny that line was able to come out ahead. Utah, speaking of their forward lines, I mean, the Keller Schmaltz line is usually very good, and I thought they were pretty good tonight. They generated a fair amount. I think it is going to be a real interesting story to watch the season go on, what the Nick Schmaltz situation is in Utah, because that has been a very good duo for the better part of, gosh, I guess almost 7-8 years now since they traded Dylan Strome to get him from Chicago. And Schmaltz, I don't think gets enough credit as being one of the better pending unrestricted free agents on the market. And we haven't really heard anything about Utah possibly shopping him yet.
Yeah.
And, with Cooley out of the lineup, things looking very different in Utah. It is a good forward group that Utah has put together. A lot of that sort of predates the team being there. But it was, I think what we saw throughout the game as it went on is the Flames were generally outskilled. But it just, again, came down to the goaltending battle. And that's really what sunk Utah to this point this season. Vanacek only allowed the one goal, which upped his save percentage dramatically. He came in with an 869, but still, it was Wolf was the difference tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately for Utah, they're kind of caught in that situation where they can outskill a team like Calgary, who's rebuilding sort of, but not a Colorado or probably not even a Chicago at this point, right? So
yeah,
it's a tough situation to be in.
I think the folks who have taken over that team since they came from Arizona, I think in large part, I think what we are going to see with Utah as the season wears on is I think we're going to start to see a bit of a personnel regime shift where when they came over from Arizona, they just kind of had to get on the ground running. They didn't have time to change anything.
Right.
But I think the moves that they have made that have had the new personnel's fingerprints on them, I think have been a little bit to their detriment. I think they've tried to. I think they've tried to accelerate things a little bit too much, and I think it's going to maybe be their downfall if they keep going this way. We'll see. They still have good pieces coming. They drafted Tija Ginla at 6. They drafted last year Caleb Desnoyers at 4. But yeah, I mean, they've got the pieces who are driving the bus here are not involved with this Utah regime just yet. We'll see what happens as things progress there. We do have a super chat. Super chats benefit the youth centers of Calgary. This one is $6.99 from F. Bueller. She was mentioning it's 6-3-1 the last 10 for the Flames. It looks like it's time to get excited about Viggo Bjork, a 5'9" spark plug available at 15th overall. Why can't we have nice things? I've got good news, F. Bueller. The St. Louis Blues just wrapped up a 2-1 win over the Ottawa Senators. So the Flames are back in third last in the Western Conference, and the Minnesota Wild and Vancouver Canucks are getting at it right now. So entirely possible the Flames get back into the basement. I'm not really that concerned. From a biased standpoint, I'm glad they beat Utah, but also just you're gonna win 30 games a year no matter how bad you are, and I just haven't seen a whole lot to tell me that the Flames are going to be better than they have been.
Well, and honestly, like the last 10 games or so, 11 games, that's some of the best hockey I've seen the team play in the last couple of years, and they're 6-4-1 out of it. This is about as good as this team can be, and no team operates at like top capacity for an entire season. And they're fully healthy too, so it's probably not going to continue like that. Wolf's going to go on a run. They're still going to win some games, but they're kind of they are who they are, right?
Good question in the chat. Yuri 24/7 asking who's the last AAA caliber sniper that the Utahs have even had. I mean, I think Dylan Gunther sort of qualifies. I think he's an excellent young player.
He can get there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you mentioned Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel, and Hall was there for a very short period of time. That was the last time that Arizona was a buyer at the trade deadline. They got him from New Jersey. So he was just sort of there as a rental, and that was under Rick Tocchet, and there wasn't really a whole lot of bandwidth to score in that system. And Phil Kessel, they traded for when he was like in his mid 30s.
He was pretty cooked at that point.
Pretty cooked by that point. So before that, I mean, I would sort of, I mean, you would have to sort of, I mean, obviously Keller is part of that equation. He's been a tremendous player. Prior to that, you kind of, the thing is, the teams that they had when the year that they went to the West Final, they were very much a build from the outside. They were riding Mike Smith. the two best goalies in the league met in the West Final that year. It was Quick
Right.
versus Smith, and then their blue line. It was kind of like Keith Yandel, who was their big sniper, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That was their top scorers up front were guys like Radim Verbata.
Middle
it's
rotation guys. Yeah,
exactly. And so I think the guys they have right now are a little bit better than that. I just don't. I'm with you there, Kent. I don't know if they're going to stand out. I think they're going to sort of top out more of a Minnesota type team, which is fine.
They don't even have a Kaprizov though. Like,
I think Keller's decent, close to Kaprizov,
nah, he's
but
not. No,
you don't
he's
think
very
so?
good. He's not. No, Kaprizov's a 99th percentile player, and Keller's probably
yeah.
95th, maybe.
Yeah,
Which doesn't
maybe
sound like a lot, but it's a big
when you
difference.
get up there, it's a big difference. Yeah. Yuri, if we're gonna do some remember some guys, Hall of Good players, how about Mikhail Bodker? There we go. We'll just throw former Yotes in the chat tonight. Former
he was
Yotes,
okay.
Lee Stempniak. They got Lankow from the Flames. They got I mean, when the year that they made the conference final, they had like Taylor Pyatt and like they had a whole bunch of just
Taylor
totally
Pyatt.
random. I mean, Antoine Vermette was a big one forever because he kept going back there. They traded him to Chicago to win the cup, and then he went back to Phoenix. They had a whole bunch of just total randos for a while there. And so, now they're in Utah. And the whole thing is, I mean, you expect this team to be a playoff team right out of the box. The whole thing is, Ryan Smith is a real owner, which in fairness, he has money, but I don't know. Is he going to revolutionize how to build a 16th place team? We've been there and seen that. So if for an exercise in history, the Coyotes made the playoffs in their first 2 years in Phoenix. So you're playing from behind here, Utah. Can you tell I'm having fun tonight, Kent?
Yeah. Well, how did you think Danny Boot did? It's
Daniil Boot,
right?
Yeah, it's Daniil Boot.
Yeah.
Daniil Boot. I'm a big fan of Danny Goals. That's what I call him. Danny Goals. It was a better pick than the Simashev pick. I'm glad they moved to Utah for the only reason that I have to stop pretending to like that pick. I think Boot was always a reasonable pick around that range. I think he's a solid player. He's been really good.
11th or something. 11th.
I think it was 13th. It was the pick they got for Chychrun, or it was 12th. Oh. It was the pick they got for Chychrun. It was Chychrun for a first and 2 seconds, and Boot was the pick at 12. And I think he's a good player. Again, very raw, sort of like Hanzik when he first came up, but I think he's got a little bit more in terms of productivity and size, and I like that player, but I think Utah needs a lot more than just that. So we shall see. We digress. We've done a lot of talking about Utah and not a whole lot of talking about the Flames. Jux JC talking about boring game, boring after game. Sorry guys, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's not a whole lot to talk about tonight. What are we gonna do? It's Utah. It's Calgary. Ugh.
Let's talk about how Zary and Sharangovich both scored in the same game. I mean,
they sure did, and that's going to bring us right into talking about the Calgary Health Foundation. We've seen Lanny McDonald make some incredible comebacks on the ice. We're seeing some guys making some comebacks on the ice for the Calgary Flames this season. Lanny McDonald's greatest comeback didn't happen in the arena. The Foothills Medical Center, the team there saved his life, and now he's helping the Calgary Health Foundation raise funds to upgrade the city's cardiac catheterization labs. And earlier this season, back in late November, I made a pledge. I made a very specific pledge because Calgary Health Foundation is matching every donation from now until the end of December. And I made a pledge for every point that Connor Zary and Yegor Sharangovich record between, I believe it was the 30th of November and the end of the calendar year, I will donate $25 to the Calgary Health Foundation with a minimum threshold of $100. So even if they totally went bust for the whole month of December, they'd still get something. Well, wouldn't you know it, Kent Wilson? Connor Zary scores against the Minnesota Wild last night, or 2 nights ago. And now, tonight, both goals scored by those two guys. How about it? $75. We're already up there to the Calgary Health Foundation. How about that?
I think that should double the donation if they both score.
Yeah, if it's just both those guys, you're not wrong.
Because it's extremely rare, right?
We'll send it to the judges. You can head to givehealth.ca to learn more and donate. Again, you have until December 31st, and all your donations will be matched. So technically, we're up to 150 already to the Calgary Health Foundation, with 2 points for Connor, 1 point for Igor. They're both going to get going here in the month of December. I can feel it in my bones, and it's great to see those two guys getting on the board tonight. I don't know, Yasmin, do we even have the clip of Connor Zary's empty net goal tonight? Is that something? I
Shot
mean,
from center.
it was a great read by Rasmus. Look at this.
Yeah, that's a nice
Sort of
play.
picking off, pass by Mikhail Sergachev, and then puck sort of goes to Zary, spins, fires dead center. I don't think Rasmus gets credit for an assist on this play. I think they ended up determining that it was Sergachev who gave the puck away to Connor Zary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but in any event, Zary gets his 4th of the year.
Zary's starting to look like an NHLer again the last couple of
I
games,
agree.
which is nice.
I agree.
Yeah, it was 15, 20 games of just what are we doing here with that
Yeah.
player? But his last goal, which was not an empty net goal, was a bit more
Oh, a
on
beauty.
the nose of what we would expect out of him coming into the season. So I hope he can continue to sort of rebuild his game on a line. I mean, that line got the crap beat out of him tonight, apparently. But
Yeah.
when you're playing with Michael Backlund and you're playing against other teams' best players, you're going to have nights like that every so often. But they end up, on the ice with the empty net and they put it away. So it's nice to see Zary seeming to get back on his feet at least.
Yeah, I picked those two guys because I think they're both on good lines, and I think they're due to get a few more bounces to go their way. And I think, the underlying numbers over the last little bit for both those guys have gotten a lot better. We're
Right.
starting to see, I mean, the Flames as a team as a whole are above, 50% expected goals, and pretty much every player at this
Yeah.
point. They've done a good job of sort of improving their standard across the board. Zary is, last on the team still, well, second last at 46.82%, ahead of Ryan Lomberg. Yegor's gone up to 53% on the season, a benefit of playing on a good line,
Big turnaround.
but
Yeah.
also not dragging down that line. I think
Right.
that line has been I think that line's been totally serviceable across the board. And I
Yep.
think you look at it, Kadri's a guy who drives possession, who can carry the puck through transition. Faraby's a banger. Yegor's a shooter. It makes sense. And I think we're starting to see these guys sort of complement each other's games. Ryan Pike in our chat, a Pike bomb, the big wrench, we like to say. Flames are now 6-2-1 in their last 9, 8-6-2 since Kuznetsov was called up. And I don't even know the numbers in the Warmies era at this point, but they've got a decisive winning record since Warmies was introduced. So I'm
It
taking
must be the Warmies. Yep.
it must be the Warmies. It's the Warmies effect. I think it's a real phenomenon. So appreciate that, Pike. And yeah, it's been a nice little run for the Calgary Flames. They're playing more exciting hockey, but they're also not out of the lottery, which is I think the line that they need to continue to straddle.
Exactly. The one player
Exactly.
that's driving me nuts right now is actually Jonathan Huberdeau.
True. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I really couldn't stand Huberdeau when he arrived for the first year or two. Um, I thought last year he took a big step. He mostly took a big step forward. Seemed to have a nice combination with Kadri for most of the year. And when he came back into the lineup this year after being injured the first 5 or 10 games, he looked really good. But recently it's just the worst of Huberdeau as a player, just giving up on plays in the shallow end of the offensive zone, giving the puck away, not impacting the game positively at all. Yeah, it's really bad for him right now. I know he recently broke his goalless streak, but tonight again was just like, well, nope.
Yeah, I think it's a very fair assessment. I think that top line has fallen a little bit lately.
Yeah,
I think it is. I think the Kadri line is their top line right now. I think it's been sort of firing at all cylinders for the last little while. Yeah, I mean, I think they're starting to get a little bit better on the power play in general, which is going to start juicing those top 5 guys' production a little bit.
yeah,
Of course, Mackenzie Weegar is still not getting any breaks in that regard.
no,
But yeah, at 5-on-5 with Huberdeau, it's been a little bit tricky
pretty rough. Yeah.
yeah. Um, we got a super chat. Gordon Bragg 4839. How do you guys feel about the rumors of management lying about the extension to settle the fans down? Okay, I'm gonna just sort of. I mean, yeah, we heard Francis and Saravalli talking about how they as far as they understand it, the extensions for Maloney and Nonis and Conroy and Pascal were not actually done in October. They were done like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I'm not even necessarily going to piggyback off those reports. I'm just going to go based on what I believe.
Mm.
Just based on, the whole sentiment around the whole thing, which to me, I see everything that has come out about these Flames. I see with the management team and everything. And the first thing that I thought of when I read that line in the press release about how the extensions were agreed to before the season, just my initial takeaway right away was that no way, no way.
No, there's no way.
And yeah, and so that was my takeaway. And then hearing that from Francis and Saravalli just sort of emboldened my belief. Like I'm not, the rumors are what they are, but I have felt this way all along. It's bonkers. They had Ryan Huska signed to a contract before the season. They announced it before the season, and they had 4 more deals done, and they didn't announce them. BS.
Until
Come on.
no team does that, and they had no reason to do that. It is an absolutely bizarre claim. I don't
Yeah,
know who
it's
they think they're fooling.
yeah.
Even
Just
the media around the team's like, no,
no, it's a
that's not
dumb
true.
lie. It's a dumb
Um,
lie, and that's how I feel about it. That's all I care. Like I
I have
don't think
no
it's
idea
really.
why they would. It's just so strange. Like,
Yeah, I don't how do I put it? I don't think it's like an earth-shattering revelation. I don't think Bob Woodward needs to get in here with a tape recorder and start talking to people. But I think it is. I think it's just stupid.
it's
I
just
think
stupid.
yeah,
It's just
it
so
just comes
weird.
yeah, it just
Why are
comes
you lying
across
about
as
this?
yeah, it's there's no way, and I don't think
There's no way.
I don't think anybody believes it. So that's just how I
No.
feel. Like
I've
Magic
talked to
Night.
people around the team, and no,
Yeah, Magic
it's
1989 raises a
not
good
true.
point. Magic 1989 raises a good point. It's like, they were kind of starved to announce things over the summer. Like
Yeah, it was
they
the
had nothing
worst.
going on. They had nothing going
Nothing.
on. Like
So
they
why
made 0
wouldn't you do that?
trades. Yeah, it's perplexing, to say the
And
least.
then
So
to announce the extension for Conroy for 2 years, which
yeah,
is
and well,
nothing
and do it at
for GM.
the same time as Maloney is just bizarre.
Yeah,
You knew that was going to be shooting yourselves in the foot because fan sentiment is obviously in favor of one guy and very much not in favor of the other guy. So yeah,
yeah.
it was not a very well thought out PR strategy in my opinion. Just to say
I
the
don't know
least.
what the
So,
strategy is. I would love to sit down with someone who thought that up. I'm like,
mhm,
walk me through this. What's the upside here?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, Ken, the whole idea of having a well thought out, well researched, well constructed agreement in place when you're making a big decision. The Calgary Flames maybe don't necessarily ascribe to that, but you know who does?
This is good.
I think
Tell me.
Derek Newman is just a guy who
Yeah.
if he was putting the pieces in place, if he was laying out the cobblestones to step upon towards the big decision, the next stepping stone in the decision making process of your franchise, the direction that you're going to go in, well, wouldn't you want to have somebody as firm and steady as Derek Newman steering the ship? I know I would. I I'll be frank. This view behind me, I've got not we're not here indefinitely. There's time coming, and the gears in this head are already turning. There's already thoughts about making a call over to the good folks over at CIR Realty, and specifically with Derek Newman. If you're buying or selling, and in my case, hey, who knows? Let Derek do the work for you. Email him at dnewman@cirrealty.ca. Call 403-619-6661 or visit dereknewmangroup.com. He's got trusted experience. Many clients come back to work with Derek again and again, refer their family and friends, a reflection of the trust and confidence he has earned. I mean, I just think the when it comes to constructing a plan with all the factors that are involved, You can't do worse than Derek. Well, you can't do worse than Derek. Jesus, you can't do better than Derek. Oh, I'm gonna get a text about that one.
I don't know. I hope Derek appreciates your increasingly creative segues into the ad reads.
Oh no, that was bad. Handsome Dan Vacation Rentals is going to save this one though. And Yasmin, you got to put this one up on the screen. Derek Newman is a GD legend. He saved my kid from falling through the ice.
Hmm.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I
It's
want to
like
hear that story.
it's like the story of the pig with one leg. We're going to go on a long tangent here. You ever hear the story about the pig with a peg leg, Kent? He
You said
saved a
the
kid.
pig with one leg when we
Yeah,
started
well,
there, so
with
that's a more
one
interesting story.
the pig with one peg leg. You ever heard that story,
Oh,
Kent?
no, I
Yeah,
haven't.
peg
No.
leg, pig with a peg leg. He saved a kid from falling through some ice. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there was a kid, and the pig just extended its tail, its squiggly tail, and the kid grabbed on, and it just yanked it right out, and it was an amazing pig. It was an absolute hero, but it's got a peg leg because an amazing pig like that, you can't eat it all at once. There you go. There's what we're there's how we're selling Derek Newman. Just call up Derek and be like, hey Derek, you know any pigs with a peg leg? I think that's the sort of promo that he's getting on Afterburner.
It's
But we
looking after.
appreciate
Yeah, looking
we
for it.
appreciate all your support, Derek. And holy smokes, this is just the folks wanted a more entertaining show. They're getting it.
Yeah, we can start
Derek
telling jokes
Newman.
if you want.
That's right. Hey, I've got so many jokes. Derek Newman scored the game winner too. I didn't know Derek Newman hailed from Minsk, but I'll have to ask him. I don't know if he's got much business over there, but or if he goes by
Someday.
Yegor Derek Newmanovich. But we'll have to ask him. Hey, what else do we got going on tonight? We need some more super chats in the chat. There's lots of stuff happening down in the chat. Yuri liked my
Little
joke.
road
That's
ahead
great.
here soon.
Oh yeah, we got to get into the road ahead, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? And I know the folks up at Platinum Mitsubishi, they get tired of my jokes. They don't like hearing these jokes, so I'm just going to abstain completely from talking about any
That's
pigs
not
or
true.
any farm animals, any livestock in this edition of the Road Ahead, brought to you by the folks up at Platinum Mitsubishi, 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. Hey, it's dark mode for the Calgary Flames, and hey, the 2026 Outlander 7-seater, get ready. The Noir edition is coming back.
Ooh.
Blacked out wheels, blacked out grill, in some cases a blacked out roof. It's going to be real nice. The Noir edition coming back for the 2026 Outlander. In stock already. RVR, Eclipse Cross, and Outlander PHEV models all coming in the Noir edition. Super cool. Up at 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast in Kent. The Flames wearing their black uniforms. They are 2-0-0 this season,
Ooh.
wearing Blasty, and they will continue against the Buffalo Sabres on Monday. Who
Close.
cares about what days of the week are? Monday,
Yeah.
7 p.m. Mountain Time, Buffalo Sabres coming to Calgary. It's going to be a good one. The Sabres looked like they were finding it. Now it looks like they're falling back down. They're a pig with a peg leg, if you know what I mean. And hey, they will play against the Flames on Monday. It is going to be a good one in Calgary.
What's it going to take for Buffalo? Like, how do
New
they
ownership.
stop this? Because it's kind of uncanny at this point.
It's true. It's true.
It's
It's
amazing.
what they need. They need new
Yeah.
ownership. I've got so many buddies in Buffalo. I mean, they've got so many good players. They've had so many good players. I
Yeah.
think it's legit just going to come. I mean, they have some bad veterans who are just sort of sinking them a little bit, but there's really no excuse. They should be better
No.
than they are. So
Yeah.
hey, maybe what they need is just to play the Flames and the Oilers and the Canucks. Excuse me, back to back. But they just keep running in place, and it's too bad. But the selfish part of me hopes that maybe Calgary can get Josh Doan one day. That would be cool.
Well, on that note, how the hell are the Vancouver Canucks this bad? Worst
Oh
team in the
man,
league right now.
just absolutely
With
atrocious.
Quinn Hughes, like how?
Oh man. Yeah. It's well, the part of it looks like is that Quinn kind of looks like he's starting to get checked out, which is
Yeah,
something that
he
I've
kinda
never
does.
seen with Quinn. Quinn has always been just, anytime that I've gone to Vancouver, I've gone a couple times. I've been fortunate enough to go to the Canucks games in the press box a couple times, and it's Quinn is just remarkable when he's on. He
Yeah.
is just one of the best defensemen I've ever seen. And he's putting forth some efforts that have not really reflected his level of play typically.
Yeah.
The Canucks are in action tonight. They're already down 1-0 to the Minnesota Wild with Matt
Yeah.
Boldy scoring his 16th goal of the year, just 3:11 into that one. So something to keep
Jeez.
watch on as the road ahead continues in the basement watch. For the Flames, they will play against the Detroit Red Wings, not in their Blasty jerseys. The 3-game Blasty run will come to an end on Wednesday when the Flames take on Detroit at 6:30 p.m. The Red Wings are not so bad. They've done a little bit better in recent games. After that, the Flames will head back on the road and take on the Kings and the Sharks in succession. The Red Wings are an interesting one for me. They are sort of still on the bubble in the Eastern Conference. They're up 1-0 on the Seattle Kraken right now. They are coming off a 6-5 shootout loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets on Thursday. I mean, the thing with Detroit is they are still very much a 3-forward team, and then a defenseman. The rest of their forwards, I think, are just not really there at this point. And speaking of Quinn Hughes, a team that some folks have started to connect him to is the Detroit Red Wings as a potential landing spot if he doesn't end up with the New Jersey Devils. So, hey, that's a team that could really use a player like Quinn
Really
Hughes.
use a player like
Yeah.
that. I think he goes to New Jersey, though. There's almost no way he
I think he
doesn't,
does
right?
too. Speaks volumes to me as well that Dylan Larkin is a +9 and Patrick Kane is a -10 on the same team. Yeesh. So the
Like to
Detroit Red
poke the
Wings,
bear, don't you?
I love to poke the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we got another super chat. We're gonna keep going with the road ahead, but we're gonna take a little detour down to Australia, where they got some really excellent Mitsubishis, by the way. Shrimp on the Barbie. You are really fortunate. They got like the truck down there. They got the Mitsubishi Triton. They got the Pajero Sport. They got some excellent stuff down there, and they've got good televisions with which Shrimp on the Barbie is able to see that Connor Zary played 18-12 tonight, the most his minutes all season. Good to see. I think it was well earned.
Yeah. And that's, it helps to still have Backlund and Coleman on the team because sometimes they can rehabilitate players. That's kind of, aside from playing the toughest minutes on the team, they can kind of stick almost anyone with that duo and be like, you'll be fine. So
Yeah.
I still think they should trade Coleman this year, given
Yeah.
his stock should be relatively high because I think he's played really well. But at least there is that ancillary benefit of keeping him for now.
Well, and talking about defensemen going to Detroit, and as we continue sort of talking a little bit about the road ahead, HockeyNet Canada panel was talking up Rasmus Anderson tonight like
He's been
nothing else.
tremendous.
He has been excellent. Didn't get credit for an assist on the Zary goal tonight to loop back in on the super chat, but Rasmus to me checks all the boxes for a team like Detroit. And Detroit has gone big game shopping to a certain extent over the last couple of years. They got DeBrincat, who has been quite good in their top six. Don't think Patrick Kane at age 57 or however old he is really qualifies as big game shopping at this point. But Rasmus Anderson is a guy who I would be all over if I'm Detroit. And there are a couple centers in that Red Wings pipeline, namely guys like Nate Danielson and Marco Kasper, who, if I'm Calgary, would definitely be looking at as players of interest. It's just something to keep an eye on as the season goes on. Lots of suitors, you'd think. And to me, it kind of goes back to the whole Mikhail Sergachev discussion from earlier. Rasmus, I guess, if you're a team like Utah trading for that guy and you want him to be your number one, I don't know. But if you're Detroit and you have Moritz Seider, who you really like and who's been playing extremely well, I think you're a lot happier with the prospect of trading for a guy like Rasmus.
Yeah, you're probably in trouble if you're trading for Rasmus Anderson and you want him to be your definite number one defenseman. No shade thrown to the player at all, but that really isn't where he's going to excel. Like, he's doing well in Calgary this year. He's having a nice run in November here, but ideally, yeah, it's a Dallas or even Detroit where there's one or two players above him in the rotation and he can just slot in and be a good 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Dallas is another really good example, and there's been so much talk swirling around Dallas, and hopefully once a trade actually happens, which, as I have continued to say, nothing ever does, but
Yeah.
hopefully once something does happen, we start to see maybe a little bit more happening. Good stuff from the road ahead. Shrimp on the Barbie chiming in again. The Triton is super popular down under. I know, man. I'm hoping we get it here. The big Mitsu truck, that'd be so cool. But for now, head on up to 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. Head on over to Platinum Mitsubishi. Just getting their 2026 Outlanders in stock with their 1.5 liter turbo engine and a mild hybrid system. It's one of the best SUVs on the market. The reviews love it, and we love it up at 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. They're the sponsors of the road ahead. Not a whole lot to get back through for the rest of the show. Just a little bit of stuff to cover. I want to tell a little bit about the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament coming up in the end of January. I've got my feelers out. I want to go. I want to be there. We're going to see January 23rd, 25th, 2026 at the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge. It's going to be so exciting. 4-on-4 pond hockey in the ODR with teams of 4 to 8 players battling it out for the coveted Jasper Cup. Head on over to nationgear.ca. Register your team to play outdoors. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll be able to hang out with the Nation Network crew. Again, I'm trying to get up there, which may not actually be a selling point, but we'll see. Hang on up with us. Pro hockey alumni. I don't know if that's just going to be red or if there's maybe some other names on the docket. We'll see. And of course, fans from across the country. It's going to be great. There'll be live watch parties. There'll be a lot of stuff. So get your team together. Register at nationgear.ca. We know Kent is going to be sampling his Chianti reserves that weekend, so he'll be deep in his bunker. But I'm sure we'll be able to.
Damn right.
Well, yeah, we'll be able to loop him in via Zoom or something like that, just to give the diehards a real taste of the Kent Wilson action. Hopefully by then we've secured you with a hardline connection too. Hey, only a little bit of stuff left to go on, folks. Keep it up with the super chats. They've been really good tonight. They benefit the youth centers of Calgary. And hey, Zary makes a really good point. We touched on Dallas. We didn't discuss this though. Sagan's basically done for the year
That's right.
on
Yep.
long-term injured reserve. So if there's a team out there that's looking to make some noise, Sagan's been playing more as a winger of late this year anyway. Well, I can think of a few better possible replacements for Tyler Sagan than Blake Coleman.
Yep.
Like that would
be. I mean, when's the last time the Flames made a trade of any significance? It was the
Farabee Frost, and before that, it was Mangiapane and Markstrom. Like it's been 18 months.
Long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's why I'm sort of saying nothing ever happens. I mean, the second biggest move they've made in that span is claiming Johnny Beecher off waivers, Kent.
Yeah.
Also, Zary 24/7. 3 free shout-outs from Mike. Thanks, dude. I'm too cheap to buy a super chat. That's the thing. With good chats you get on the show. The super chats are just a shortcut, and we strongly encourage as many super chats as you can provide. I say at least 2 per show from all of you. That should be the goal that you're aspiring towards, 2 super chats per show. But if the chats are juicy enough, we'll get them on. Where we see everything. We see absolutely everything, and that's a
Can
promise.
you define a juicy chat for the
juicy chat?
crowd? Yeah,
a juicy chat. I think the juicy chat is like the one from that one guy who asks me why I'm always strutting around in Okotoks acting like I own the place. That's a real chat that we get all the time, and it's funny.
Are you in Okotoks a lot?
What's not really? There? I haven't worked for the Okotoks Oilers for like over a year now, but we still get people asking. I find it extremely flattering that folks that folks see me. I mean, it's not as bad as Jux JC, who I don't think is still watching this stream, spotting me at South Center and not saying hi and just sort of watching me. But it is very flattering. And I would assume, Kent, being somebody with a CV as expansive as yours, you just get you just attract them like flies. You attract people out in public.
Oh yeah,
you're the Kent Wilson,
all over me all the time.
Oh my god! you for those of you who don't know, Kent has got like Kent's phone contacts book is just this thick.
I'm a big deal.
He's a well-connected individual. Yeah. Yeah. We sort of mentioned earlier in the show, why didn't Rasmus get the point to answer that one, chat? Yeah, I think it was Sergachev who just gave it away.
Yeah,
Sort of stole it, and then yeah.
swept it
Uh,
right to Zary.
yeah. Pike's in the chat. People often ask Kent, why didn't you used to be Kent Wilson? Hey, it's true.
Ooh, that's
He
a
used
good
to
one.
be. He used to be. He still
Used to
is.
be.
Still is, but
Yeah, just
used to
somewhere
be too.
else
That's
most of the
right.
time.
Hey, the place where Kent, where everybody knows Kent's
This is
name.
good.
The place where everybody knows Kent's name. You got to know where everybody knows your name. And the thing is, when you're at the Unicorn, you don't even need to wear a name tag. You don't even need to have have somebody announce your arrival. You just walk in, and you've been there for years. You walk in, and your presence is predated by some aura that follows the winds through the windowsills and into the actual atmosphere inside the Unicorn, and it just sort of says Kent Wilson. And that's what happens whenever Kent. Well, that's what happens whenever Kent is able to head on down to the Unicorn. It's powerful on the Unicorn on 4th. It's even just more powerful at the Unicorn on 8th. And I think it's just because it is reinforced, replicated, duplicated, in fact, triplicated by the fact that it's a triple pub. You got 3 floors, 3 bars in one destination. It's triple the Kent. And that's exactly where he goes. Kent's more of a wine fella. Kent's always been one to decant, not to pour. But when Kent goes in, I think everybody knows about
That's not
their
true. I
7.
drink a beer every time I do one of
Exactly.
these things. So.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You are a varied man, but you've always been more of a decanter. You can't deny that. But when you go into the Unicorn, $7 pints of Molson. I mean, it's an incredible value prop. Kent's all about the value props, and they've got the hockey, the football, the soccer, the UFC. Lots of stuff happening in the soccer world. The MLS Cup is all around the corner, and the World Cup's coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the Unicorn should be your HQ, Kent Wilson, when all that stuff's going down.
I'll keep that in mind.
You better. I know you live out on like Pluto compared to Calgary, but
Yes.
for those of you who don't know, Kent's got, I think, homes in Carstairs, Vegreville, and North Haverbrook. But he's still one of
I
us.
put him on the map. That's right.
That's right. He sure did. Somebody's saying the MLS Cup is unfortunately over. I've been exposed as a big soccer phony, but the World Cup is definitely coming up. So get excited and head on down to the Unicorn. I think we've covered pretty much everything, Kent. 2-0. The Calgary Flames defeat the Utah Mammoth. All is right in the world. It's the Mike Gould game, if I've ever seen one, where Yegor Sharangovich scores the winning goal against the Utah Mammoth.
That's right.
Any last takeaways? Any last thoughts on this beautiful Saturday night?
When do the Flames make their next trade?
You know what? I think the Calgary Flames. I don't think anything happens before Christmas.
Nope.
They have never been a team that makes deals in December. Really, they have always sort of waited until January and February. They've made a lot of big deals in January in their history. Most recently,
That's
the
true.
Elias Lindholm deal was in January. They tend to ring in the very end of the month or the start of the following month. Like I think the Gilmore trade was sort of around that time too.
Yeah. When was the
Dion,
Phaneuf trade? I think that was.
I was just about to say Dion Phaneuf
Yeah.
trade and the Elias Lindholm trade were on the same day. I think like 10 or 12 years apart.
Right.
So I would say late January would be my expectation. They've done a lot of business around that time. They, historically they have done, when they have assets to move, they have gotten ahead of it a little bit. So I would say,
Who's
yeah,
it going to
if I
be?
had, I will
Anderson?
say here, I'm going to call my shot right now, and
Okay.
nobody's going to remember this unless it happens. January 26th, it'll be Blake Coleman's
Ooh.
Dallas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
January 26th. And it's not going to happen because I never get these things right, except the time that I said Mark Jankowski would score the very first goal of the 2020-21 season in the NHL, and he did. That was the only thing. So, yeah, I can't. He scored the very first goal of that season. Look
How'd
it
you
up.
get that one?
The Penguins were playing later that day, and it just made sense. They were the first game, so you had to pick somebody on
Pretty good.
Pittsburgh, and had to be Janko,
Yep.
right? So,
Yep.
yeah, Jan 26. Put it in your calendars. Get it
I
down.
will.
There was a time last season. I posted a tweet last season. I was going to a movie. I think it was, oh God, what movie was it? It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. But I went in, I tweeted, hope about to go to a movie. Hope no trades happen while I'm in there. And I walked out, and Mikko Rantanen had just been traded to Carolina. So
Right.
I forget even what movie I saw that day.
So on the 26th, you should go to a movie and see what
on the
happens.
26th, I should go. The Huberdeau extension also happened while I was in a movie, though. So, and I
Oh,
remember what
yeah.
movie that was. It was Bullet Train, one of my least favorite movies. Yeah, two bad things at the
Double
same
whammy.
time. I went and saw Bullet Train with Brad Pitt, and Huberdeau signed his 8-year deal midway through it. Ugh, just a horrible day. So, in any event, yes,
Two expensive
Yuri.
mistakes.
Yuri remembers. Yuri, you're getting your 4th shout out. This person remembers what movie it was. It was the one with it was like these 2 ladies, and they were like trying to get money, and they, oh God, what was it called? It was with SZA. It was the movie with SZA, and it was a movie. What was it called?
What the hell are you talking about?
It was called One of Them Days, and it starred SZA and Keke Palmer, and I saw it in theaters. And Mikko Rantanen.
I've never heard of this movie.
It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was a
No,
January. It was a January release. It was a January.
Well, you should
release.
not be talking down to Bullet Train at this point, then.
Oh, this was way better than Bullet Train. Anyway,
no, it wasn't.
Okay, it was way better. That'll pretty much do it.
We're done.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'll go see Avatar: Fire and Ash. That'll get your blood pumping. Am I right, Kat?
No, stop making those movies.
There we go.
Ugh.
Mike Gould, Kent Wilson with you on this Saturday night. The Calgary Flames beat the Utah Mammoth by a 2-0 final score. Our thanks to producer Yasmin and to all the great folks over at Platinum Mitsubishi, the U Center to Calgary, Bet365, the Derek Newman Group, the Unicorn, the Calgary Health Foundation, and the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge. As we mentioned, the Flames will be back in action in a couple days to take on the Buffalo Sabres. Appreciate you tuning in. It's been another edition of the Afterburner.